How's it going, everybody? My name is Spnix and welcome to the channel. So I'm an artist and I've been making art for say some odd 10 years now. But lately there's something that really has inspired me, and it's also kind of pissed me off at the same time, and that, people, is the bullshit that's AI art. I know there's a lot of mixed emotions surrounding AI art, but just hear me out and maybe you'll see something or learn something that you didn't quite expect to take from this whole new endeavor that we're kind of dealing with. Alright, so here's the deal. In this video, I'm going to be making and showing you how I turned this AI generated piece of art into an original digital art piece. So AI art is actually kind of a touchy subject, and there's a lot of artists who hate it. I'm not really going to discuss the ethics of AI or anything like that in this video, but that's not now, that's not this video. This video is just about art, baby, so let's just get into it. Okay, so first off, using AI software is actually pretty easy. I tried a couple different AI platforms and some were definitely better than others. A couple of them that I know are like Hotpot AI, DALL-E, and Wumbo.art, as well as Dream Studio. So I messed around with a few of them, but I stood with Dream Studio because it was kind of easier, and honestly I just got a lot of mileage out of those credits that they give you. Okay, so here's how this whole AI thing is going to work for me, and the premise of this video essentially. What I wanted was to see if the platform could create an image that was similar enough to one of my already created designs. That way I would know that it could be useful as a guiding reference point. So what I had initially planned on doing with AI was using that image that it created to then create a character and illustrate it, which is kind of doable, but then I discovered that it just wasn't going to be possible. And that's because, well, AI is just actually kind of shit. I mean, look at this thing. So that's about when I decided to change my goal and instead use it as a way to frame and gain references for my illustrations. So after playing around with it, I was able to get to a place where I felt the images or the paintings that the AI was giving me were similar enough to the desired look that I was trying to achieve with my own illustrations, that I can use it to generate some ideas. Like, at first it looks kinda good, but the more you look at it, the less sense it actually makes. Nothing quite looks anatomically correct, and it all looks, well, dreamy. Either way, calling it a dream is more likely based on its limitations, actually. So anyways, I decided that what I was going to do was make a character referenced from a set of AI generated art to see if that was possible. One of the reasons that I believe it's a more unique approach to gathering references, at least for myself, is because oftentimes I'll take inspiration from artists online like Instagram and definitely Pinterest, but one of the problems with that is that I can fall into this rut where I start to get overstimulated. So with the AI, I was actually able to get where I wanted to get much quicker. So once I had my references, I started thinking of my character and what I actually wanted him to do. And I knew that I wanted him to have a more dynamic pose, so the next step is me going into making that pose, and for that I'll be using an app that I used quite a while called Magic Poser. So with this app, they let you take a model of a male or female and pose it freely. And here you see me playing around with the model. There's a lot of nuances that they let you take advantage of, like the rotation of the hand, the movement of the different joints, and I know that I want this to be a more like perspective kind of drawing where the character is looking face up, and I get the idea of him being in a sort of rotating pose. Like, for any of you who played Smash, if you know Falco, he does this like side A aerial, and I really wanted something like that where he's like mid rotation and just like stuck in that pose. So I get the character's arm into the position that I want by tweaking the joints and the limbs. I have an idea of what I want, but at the same time, to get this, I'm actually looking at an image of Iron Man, since he's kind of a bulky dude that flies in the air, and I'm definitely going to be making my character robotic, because for me, when I use well, for my character Morph, he's essentially this cloud kind of entity that goes inside of a suit. There's a lot to this character that maybe I'll expand on a different time, and the reason why I used Iron Man as a kind of like reference also was because he's gonna have that similar feel. So now I'm gonna be putting the final touches, and I think that I get a pretty damn good pose here. So now that I have my factory machine art references and the pose that I'm going to be going for, my next step is, well, just to go into Procreate and to start illustrating. So I thumbnailed the reference model that I got from the Magic Pose app on the corner of my drawing space, and I start off by sketching out some general gesture lines. And gesture lines are good to use to capture the motion of the figure. Now I'm going to go into the next phase of the sketching, and I'm going to be using a red pencil to clearly differentiate my sketch from the design. I know that I'm going to be drawing a mech suit, but I find it really hard to draw those kind of shapes outright to look fluid. So what I normally do is I draw a human body, and then I draw what a mech suit will look like if that person was wearing one. I don't know if that kind of sounds backwards, but that's my way of doing it, and well, it kind of works for me. And this is where the AI art starts to really become handy. So for me, I'm looking at all the images that the AI software generated, and I put them into this app that I use to get a quick snapshot of all my references. And I'm mixing and matching these different components into the parts that I think are going to make sense for my illustration. But one of the problems that I found was that in the AI art, there's nothing that really makes sense. Like, there's no concrete forms here. Everything just kind of looks nonsensical, really. And for me, a lot of the illustrations that I do are more anatomically concise. Even if I'm doing something that doesn't necessarily like make 100% sense, it still makes enough sense so that when you see the image, it reads as a piece of like a robotic arm or the back of a character's like jetpack or something. Like I mentioned, I really wanted to capture a kind of fluidity in this piece, so I used a bit of an animation technique where I drew the arrows to dictate the direction of the clouds that I'm illustrating. After I get the character illustrated, I decided that it's time to do the line work, which is definitely fun for me because it's well relaxing. Then I'm going into the color phase, and the palette that I chose, well, it really wasn't a palette, to be honest. I just knew that I wanted the robot to be pink and have some white, so I honestly just went straight into the coloring. And to do that, I take the freehand selection tool and I make a new layer where I can add the color. I put the layer under the line work so that the border will still be in place. And I want to really talk about this little bitch, this little fucking bitch of a crystal that sent me into my own personal hell. So basically, I wanted this thing to be coming out of his chest to be a crystal. But honestly, I don't know how the fuck to draw that. So I had to jump on YouTube and do some practice, and after watching like 30 minutes worth of videos and tutorials, eventually I got to the point where I knew that I can draw a grayscale of a crystal. And then I took a yellow square layer, and then I hit colorize on it on a new Procreate layer. Oh, look at me, I'm fancy. Then I make a glowing effect on the crystal because, well, it just looks cool. And I added some shadows and shading in the character for depth. Okay, holy shit, fuck, that's a lot of flash warning. I'm definitely gonna put some flash warning in the beginning of this video somewhere because I totally forgot. So that all happened quick. Let me just explain it. But basically what I did was I actually took an AI generated background of a sky and I duplicated that layer, and on the duplicate layer I played around with the liquify tool to get this really trippy kind of effect. and my character is made of clouds, so I made use of the cloud brush preset on Procreate to add some texture here. So the head of this character actually gave me some issue because somewhere along this illustration I colored in the head on the wrong layer, which royally fucked me up. And well, I guess I'm just gonna draw some really cool eye here and try to redeem myself for that. Alright, well, so all in all, I think this experiment turned out, kind of great actually. I'm not gonna lie, at first I was scared of this whole AI art thing. Like, I was like, well, that's it for me. No more artists. It's over. AI art taking over. I'm done. Might as well drop the towel. But you know what? I don't think it'll ever replace what we artists truly have to offer. I'll be honest, this is a new journey for me. I've been making art for a long time, and I really want to make it my full-time job. So if y'all mess around with it, y'all mess around with what I've done here, maybe you just share it. That'd be really cool. And I hope that I can do more stuff like this in the future. That's all for now.